The script. Interpreting the basic structures of the astrological symbols, the glyphs, meanings. The astrological symbols of the planets and the zodiac signs are symbolized by four basic forms: the cross, the circle, the semicircle, and the arrow. By four basic forms: the cross, the circle, the semicircle, and the arrow. Interpreting the basic structures of the astrological symbols, the glyphs, meanings. The cross. The cross represents matter, form, things of the earth, the desire. It is the symbol of the wheel of birth, life, death, and rebirth. This is the wheel which we must learn to rise above, as it represents basic desires. The key word for the cross is body. The circle. The circle represents spirit. It is that which all things are and are not. That is, everything outside of the circle is potential circle. All things within the circle are potential life. The circle itself represents manifestation. The circle represents spirit. It is that which all things are and are not. That is, everything outside of the circle is potential circle. All things within the circle are potential life. The circle itself represents manifestation. So all things are represented by the circle. The circle is simply spirit, and spirit is that force which gives life to everything. Spirit is the divine thought of which everything is a part. The semicircle represents and symbolizes the thinking of the mind. It is the ability to think, communicate, remember, and reason. It can also be thought of as a bowl, which holds all past life and present life experiences. The flow here is that the spirit gives life to the body, and the mind communicates ideas of the spirit to the body. Here, with reference to the semicircle symbol, means the connection of the spirit communicating to the body, mind, and brain. The semicircle represents a receiving container that interprets the brain's mechanized components, which contains thought memories and reasoning, such as a bowl holds water. There are two distinct types of memory: motor skill memory and factual memory. There are three levels of memory: immediate memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory. There are four different types of remembering: recollection, recall, recognition, and relearning. This semicircle symbol is designed with the capacity for storing information of the spirit to the body, the receiver container. The arrow. The arrow represents and symbolizes potential energy. The kinetic energy of an arrow is the energy that it possesses due to its motion. It is defined as the work needed to accelerate a body of a given mass from rest to its stated velocity, and is the rate of change of the position of an object, equivalent to a specification of its speed and direction of motion, having gained this energy during its acceleration. The arrow body maintains this kinetic energy unless its speed changes. The same amount of work is done by the arrow's body in decelerating from its current speed to a rate of rest or state of rest. Kinetic energy is represented as operators, motion, and is a change in position of an object with respect to time and its reference point. Motion is typically described in terms of displacement, direction, velocity, acceleration, and time. Motion is observed by attaching a frame of reference to a body and measuring its change in position relative to that frame. If the position of a body is not changing with the time with respect to a given frame of reference, the body is said to be at rest. Motionless, immobile, stationary. or to have constant time momentum. Momentum is a quantity which is used for measuring motion of an object. When the symbol arrow is released, the action of the motion is capable of being, not yet in existence. This means having potential and is related to the motion of something. That's kinetic energy. The astrological symbols of the planets and the zodiac signs are symbolized by 4 basic forms: the cross, the circle, the semicircle, and the arrow. By 4 basic forms: the cross, the circle, the semicircle, and the arrow. Interpreting the basic structures of the astrological symbols, the glyphs meanings.
The planets, combining the spirit, mind, and body. The sun is symbolized by the circle of spirit, as it is the life-giving force of our solar system and of our lives. The dot in the center of this system or symbol represents the individual in the midst of the circle of life. Therefore, the sun is representative of our individuality in relationship to the divine scheme. The sun, as the life-giving symbol, has rule over the blood, and its sign, Leo, rules the heart. Areas ruled by the sun are vitality, our center of power, and influences in life, our inner character and success. The sign in which the sun is found is called the sun sign, and the influence of the sign will define the way in which our inner character of the person will manifest. The house location of the sun will show the areas of life experiences which will be the most attractive to the person. The house location will also indicate an area of success for the person. When the sun is found in a fire sign, the person will be positive in character, ambitious, and wanting to expand their individuality. When the sun is found in an earth sign, the nature of the person will be practical, thorough, and they will generally concentrate on one thing at a time. When the sun is found in an air sign, the person will be somewhat nervous, high-strung, scattered, sociable, and will like a variety in their life. The influence of the sun in a water sign lends sensitivity to the person, and the emotions will be one of the strongest influence in their lives. The moon is the ruler of the outer covering, and therefore it has rule over clothing, personality, and the home, and the emotions, memories, and the mother. It rules the fluids of the body, and its sign, Cancerian, rules the stomach and digestive processes. The symbol for the moon is 2 semicircles, which signify the subconscious mind, memories, and the sensitivity of the person. This symbol represents those things which are below the surface of the mind, subconscious. The sun is the inner character of the person, and the moon is the outer character or personality. It is the influence of the person's moon which they show us first, and we have to get past this barricade of the personality before we can realize their true inner character. The moon is highly sensitive as the symbol of the double bowl or 2 semicircles indicates a receiver and container of outside influences. Therefore, a person's sensitivity may be determined by the influence of the moon in their horoscope. It represents the emotion or the emotional qualities of a person and their emotional needs. The moon is also essential to health. The sun gives the person vitality, but it is the moon which contains the vitality. Any inharmonious aspects to the moon will indicate an area of a loss of vitality. The moon is found, or when the moon is found in a fire sign, the personality of the person will be aggressive and assertive. They will rush into relationships and situations with their emotions exposed. The influences of the moon in an earth sign is one of emotional control. The emotions will not sway the thinking of the individual. The moon in an air sign gives an uplifting personality, which influences others for good. The emotions are expressed rather well, and little is suppressed in this person's life. When the moon is found to be in a water sign, the person will have very deep feelings, and their emotional life will be one of the most important considerations. They will be sentimental, affectionate, and somewhat insecure in their emotions. Mercury gives understanding. Here we find the semicircle of the mind above the symbol of spirit and body. Mercury also rules reasoning, abilities, and communications. Mercury represents the ability to reason, and this ability is what separates humankind from all other forms of life on earth. Reasoning is the gift of applying our learning, and it is also, or it gives the ability to alter our behavior on the basis of what we have learned. Communication, short travels, alertness, learning abilities, mental interests, writing, and manual dexterity are all ruled by Mercury's influence. It also rules the limbs, lungs, and the brain. Mercury is also that electrical charge which travels the nervous or nerve fibers, taking the messages between the brain and the various parts of the body. It is the ruler of Gemini and Virgo. When Mercury is found to be in a fire sign, the person will be impulsive, quick, above average in intelligence, impatient, and quick to communicate. The influence of Mercury in an earth sign gives stability to the mind, common sense reasoning, patience, and thoroughness. When Mercury is found in an air sign, the person will be above average in intelligence, quick, sociable, and somewhat scattered in their thinking. Mercury in a water sign colors the thinking with emotions. It is difficult to make decisions because the emotions interfere and the person will be somewhat shy in communicating. There is a very good memory and a very sensitive and creative mind. The dual rulership of Mercury, the planet, ruling over the sign Gemini, and also Mercury ruling the sign over Virgo, will be explained. Mercury Gemini has to do with movement, variety, communications, and mental flexibility. The rulership of Mercury over Gemini brings out the mental quickness of Mercury. This is the influence of the messenger who communicates between the leader and the workers. Its rule has to do with short journeys and short writings. The changeabilityness of Mercury is found in its rulership over Gemini. The need of variety and constant mental stimulation is signified by this relationship. Mercury over Virgo has to do with internalizing information, discrimination, and the study of details. The rulership of Mercury over Virgo brings out the mental abilities of detail and discrimination. In this relationship, the mental powers are directed with purpose, and this shows the ability to constructively use the mind. Venus. The planet Venus is symbolized by the circle of spirit over the cross of desire. This implies that desires are controlled and balanced with an awareness of spirit. Venus has to do with beauty, harmony, artistic interests, expression of affections, the way in which a person receives affection and values. It represents refinement. The more modern responses to Venus gives an interest in money, possessions, luxuries, and being comfortable. It also has to do with socializing, as Venus indicates whether or not a person likes to mix with others. By understanding the influence of Venus in a horoscope, you will know how sociable the person is, the types of values they have, whether or not they are wasteful, the types of pleasures they seek, and how they express their affections. It is a very important influence when you are considering the compatibility of two people, because you can see if they have the same values and the same romantic interests. When Venus is found in a fire sign, the person will be somewhat aggressive in seeking pleasures. They will let the romantic partner know how they feel. However, they can be somewhat wasteful with their money because of the impulsiveness and desire nature of the fire element. When Venus is found in an earth sign, the person will be less interested in romance and more interested in mundane gains, that's earthly gains. They will generally be very careful with their money and will be patiently ambitious for gains and possessions. When Venus is found in an air sign, the person will be highly sociable, liking to mix with others, and will need a great deal of communications with loved ones. There will be intellectual values. When Venus is found in a water sign, the person will be very sentimental, and there will be a strong emotional feeling. They tend to be somewhat possessive and jealous of their romantic partner, and one of the major things in their lives is to have a stable romantic situation. Mars is almost the opposite symbol of Venus. The cross of desire is over the circle of spirit, indicating that desire has rule over the spirit nature. Mars is the influence in all of our lives, which gives us the ability to take action. It can be forceful, moving, impatient, and impulsive in nature. It gives cause for movement, and the key word here is action. It rules violence, fire, infection, accidents, and weapons of violence. Also, it has to do with surgery. Every person has Mars in their horoscope, but how they utilize the Mars influence will be determined by its rulership with other planets or aspects and the sign location. When Mars is found in a fire sign, it is capable of great achievements, as the aggressive, assertive, and leadership qualities of this planet will be emphasized. When Mars is found in an earth sign, its action principle will be used for more practical action, and it will give the person a tendency to do one thing at a time. When Mars is found in an air sign, there will be action which is associated with others and a sociable nature. But there is a tendency for the actions to be too scattered, too many irons in the fire, so to speak. When Mars is found in a water element, Mars will act through emotions, and this brings some confusion to the life of this person. There will be attachments to their actions and a rather sensual nature. Planet Jupiter. Jupiter is the influence of the higher mind. It symbolizes, or its symbol is that of the semicircle of mind reaching away from the cross of desire. It rules the sign Sagittarius, which is symbolized by the archer shooting his arrow heavenward for the higher states of awareness. Therefore, the idea of expansion is associated with Jupiter. The only negative influence it can have is that of exaggeration or doing too much of something. Jupiter is the conscious mind which governs our ideas of right and wrong, and will thereby indicate a person's spiritual interests with honesty. Jupiter has been termed the great benefice, as it brings the best of good fortune and promises success and goodness to whatever part of the person's life it is influencing. College-level education, foreign travel or interests, expansion consciousness, philosophy of life, good fortune, teaching, kindness, and the ministry are all areas under the rulership of Jupiter. It rules the liver and the physical body. When Jupiter is found in a fire sign, the person will be active and in pursuing and expressing their ideas of right and wrong. This can be the influence of the reformer or promoter of ideas. When Jupiter is found in an earth sign, the person will be interested in worldly affairs and goods. They will probably have good fortune in regards to the material world. When Jupiter is found in an air sign, the person will be interested in others and could realize success through writing, publishing, teaching, and any form of communications. The influence of Jupiter in a water sign gives the person an interest in spirituality. There is a great deal of sympathy and compassion for others when Jupiter is in a water sign. Saturn is a symbol of the cross depressing the semicircle. This implies a person's consciousness or mind cannot be expanded until they have dealt with the terms of Saturn. When these terms of Saturn are met, the situations which Saturn brings to a person's life will be karmic areas which must be attended to so they may grow. The more negative qualities of Saturn are those of hindering, delaying, denying, restricting, depressing, and blocking. These are simply conditions which Saturn places in our lives so that we may search our desires and see if our motives are pure. When we learn the positive terms of Saturn, we will be able to move on in life and in consciousness. The positive terms of Saturn are patience, maturity, discipline, and perseverance, dedication, sincerity, and stability. When we reach the point in our consciousness where we are responding to life in terms, or in these terms, we will reap great rewards. Saturn is sometimes symbolized as Father Time, or the Greek god Kronos, as it has to do with time. Saturn causes things to last for a long duration and can signify chronic situations or elements. When we are responding to the positive terms of Saturn, the rewards will be stable and long-lasting. Saturn rules forms, structures, organizations, positions in life, authority, and has been called the lawgiver because it makes the laws to which we are subject. It also rules positions in which policies are made, such as president, corporate heads, and all government office. It rules the bony structures such as teeth and hearing, and its sign Capricorn rules the knees. When associated with health in a person's horoscope, it will indicate good health or chronic ill health, depending upon its relationship to the other planets, which are aspects. Saturn in a fire sign gives great ambition and desire for positions. When Saturn is found in an earth sign, it signifies a hard worker who is ambitious for material things. The influence of Saturn in an air sign adds a great deal of intelligence and adaptability to its influence. When Saturn is found in a water sign, it can be very depressing, as it tends to separate the person from others. This will be fine if they are interested in working alone or study. Uranus. Uranus is the beginning of the Aquarian chain of planets, but its influence in a person's life will not be very positive until the person has dealt with the terms of Saturn and matured. Uranus has to do with individualizing, breaking away from the masses so the uniqueness of the person may be realized. It breaks down structures of thinking and action and can be quite disrupting if the person cannot flow with the changes it brings about. Its nature is sudden and unexpected, and this means it will bring sudden upsets and changes in our lives. If we have gotten past the structures of the terms of Saturn, we will be able to see the advantages to the changes which Uranus brings into our lives. Uranus is called the higher octave of Mercury, as it is a mental planet and can signify genius. It is also the ruler of metaphysical studies and sciences such as astrology, I Ching, and other teachings of metaphysical nature. Since Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, the new age, this aspect of its rulership indicates that the metaphysical sciences will be part of the new age. Uranus has an eccentric nature as it dances to a different drummer than anything known to the 7 planets of the Muldoon or earthly chain. It is quick, sudden, unexpected, unconventional, progressive, and humanitarian. It also rules electricity and any device which uses electricity, including computers. In a word, it is freedom, and it insists that others have freedom. There is no liking for anything binding such as rules, which limit the mental expressions. This idea of freedom also carries over to the clothing, as Uranus doesn't like for the body to be bound up. The clothing of the Aquarian age then will be loose-fitting and will be styled more for comfort than faddished appearances. This is already becoming obvious in our clothing styles of the 1970s. Uranus rules the nervous fibers and electrical energies which surround the body, the aura. It is more inclined to natural methods of healing such as herbs, massage, chiropractic, and those types of healing which do not involve synthetics and chemicals. Neptune is the mystical ruler of Pisces and therefore governs dreams, the astral plane, psychic phenomena, drugs, alcohol, abstract art forms, obsessions, and habits. It is a very sensitive and refining influence, as it is the higher octave of Venus. The music and art of Neptune is mystical, abstract, symbolic, and creative. Neptune rules the waters and is a prominent influence in those persons who are attracted to water sports. Of course, the water influence can also be aligned with the emotions, and Neptune is a highly emotional planet. Very sensitive to surroundings, Neptune will receive impressions about people and situations and will create attitudes about them. The reasoning of Neptune doesn't always have a logical base, and this is because it forms opinions based more on feeling than logic. It has to do with altered states of consciousness and can indicate a sort of spiritual intuition. It also rules the astral plane and the astral body, obsessions and delusions. The relationship of Neptune to the outer planets will be very important concerning sensitivity, psychic abilities, thinking disorders, sympathy, and compassion. It is a highly intuitive influence which will be guided by feelings. It rules Pisces. Pluto is a higher octave of Mars, and this planet has all the dynamic energy of its Muldoon counterpart, or earthly counterpart, but it is even more powerful in its influence. Also, it is much more subtle. Where Mars will rush head-on into a situation, Pluto is much more studious, and when it moves, it is with an overwhelming force which sort of sneaks up on them and completely dominates. Pluto breaks down structures for a very real purpose. It renews, arouses, and reveals. It is adventurous in nature and it has a strong taste for the sensual. Pluto is intense, very intense. The emotions of the ruler of Scorpio are used for dynamic action, and the great emotional charge it creates giving tremendous force. It is a very secretive influence and enjoys investigation. There is a liking for bringing the unknown into the open for discovery. It does away with the old by destroying it, but it has a larger purpose, which is that of bringing about a new consciousness. Pluto rules the organs of excretion.
And hello and welcome to ASTROPREP FUTUREKEYS Productions. Today's subject gives reference to the 12 zodiac signs of the planet's Earth seasonal system. In viewing the signs and planets, keywords are given to aid in their understanding. You should know that each of the 12 seasonal zodiac signs and planets are placed on each of the 12 house cusps within your natal chart. Also, please note that the planets and zodiac seasonal signs are placed within these 12 house departments of life and are somewhere in your natal chart. The more knowledge you have of the keywords and meanings of the planets and the signs, the greater your ability to interpret your own personal natal birth chart. This is your cosmic guide, E.J. Lasasio. Thank you, and please stay tuned.
Primitive man lived amidst projections because the logic of conceptual thought had not yet arisen, and symbols were the mode of expression which they adopted. Symbols trace the entire path extending from unconscious experiences to the point of projection or physical manifestation. A symbol embodies the scale of correlations which extend from darkness to clarity, from the unconscious to the conscious levels. Thus, symbols represent points of reference of guideposts pertaining or permitting identification of the impressions which the mind experiences, providing a means of expressing feelings as a part of life. The Sumerians proceeded to develop a scale of correlations between earthly events and celestial phenomena. The Sumerians observed nature in all its various manifestations, seeking to understand their own presence in the world with reference to their own lives. They observed that each component of the universe is linked to the whole of each aspect of nature on our planet exist in harmony with the movements of the heavens. These star patterns were seen shifting in the sky heavens during various seasons. The two perspectives that were utilized are seen from the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere projections from Earth. They used the southern pole star as a reference point into the heavens and created a belt 8 degrees on either side of the ecliptic or path of the sun, equaling 360 degrees or a total circle, and refer to it in this perspective as the zodiac. This circle would appear to shift each month, exposing different parts of the constellation to Earth's view. Primitive man lived amidst projections because the logic of conceptual thought had not yet arisen, and symbols were the mode of expression which they adopted. Symbols trace the entire path extending from unconscious experiences to the point of projection or physical manifestation. A symbol embodies the scale of correlations which extend from darkness to clarity, from the unconscious to the conscious levels. Thus, symbols represent points of reference of guideposts pertaining or permitting identification of the impressions which the mind experiences, providing a means of expressing feelings as a part of life. The Sumerians proceeded to develop a scale of correlations between earthly events and celestial phenomena. The Sumerians observed nature in all its various manifestations, seeking to understand their own presence in the world with reference to their own lives. They observe that each component of the universe is linked to the whole of each aspect of nature on our planet exists in harmony with the movements of the heavens. Each of the 4 seasons are 3 months each, equaling 12 months or 1 year of the Earth's transit of the Sun. Astrology is an Earth-centered, not a Sun-centered system which deals with the angular synchronization between celestial and terrestrial relationships of the Earth, Sun, Moon, and planets.